People definitely came up with some spicy ideas at how to tackle the triple deck constructed portion of the event.
Yeah, it's just a die roll, and then whoever loses gets to go first.
It's just that the die roll happens before the choosing of your deck, which adds some strategy. It even happens before the benching phase. So green blue is just built to beat red blue. It is definitely built to beat that, and then I think to know what other matchups it's good against, you would probably need to test it quite a bit. I'm sure it's, or I'd hope that it's not just beating Ruby Sapphire and there's like some other matchups that it's good against.
I mean,
definitely it's good against Ruby Sapphire.
What other Sapphire decks are likely to be brought to this tournament?
Not many. Ruby Sapphire is definitely the most likely one.
Yeah, it's sped up footage, but the timer's not ticking. Maybe that's why the pace of play seemed...
the fast pace of play, and it's just sped up.
Tamatoa.
Yeah, Blurb is really one that was just... It's just bought a lot less because I think it doesn't leave you with the greatest colors to pair.
And I mean, in a mirror, would I rather have Oswald or no Oswald? And I would definitely rather have Oswald. All right, it's Oswald time, Jan. Get ready to be interrupted. This is where Jan, you need to come up with like a really interesting point just so I can interrupt you.
No, stop talking. Oswald hit the board. Second Oswald. Oh, the ink and the hidden item. Another one. 2 items. What even is that item?
Good job.
You know what that item is?
Galactic Communicator. It bounces back something with 2 strength or less, I think.
Impressive. It's a 2-cost uninkable item. You can pay 1 ink and banish it to return a 2 strength or less character.
I like Zach's Oswalds a lot.
Yeah, I also like them because they hit.
I played against Tim, and he had a similar list in my video that's going up soon, and he didn't play Oswald, and I was quite surprised. I was like, ooh, Oswald, and he was like, actually, no. Oh, stop talking, Jan. Oswald time.
Yeah, it missed because he told me to stop talking when I wasn't talking.
Inkcaster for free.
Hits again. 3 out of 4 hits. Also, the kit is a lot of tempo potentially on the genie, but it's on a 4 ink turn. Oswald is just a great card against Ruby Amethyst because like the cheapest way to remove it often is Brawl, and Brawl costs more than Oswald, so you can often... And then also, you've probably already inked the card before the Brawl comes down, so you might have already gotten value out of it, and then it can only be brawled. It's much weaker against like a steel deck, but Bivens building this deck with the strategy of benching steel in mind, really utilizing the fact that he knows he's not going to play against steel, and he can take advantage of the Oswalds a little bit better.
Chernobog's into library, gonna quest and banish to draw 2. But it's just the Oswald difference, right? Like we saw Luca, like people in the chat in the last game were like, I'm confused. What is the deck trying to do? But with the Oswalds, like you can just see what the deck's trying to do, right? Such a high ceilings card, and it quests for 2.
Yeah, with the Oswald, it can do the same thing, but just like quicker potentially if the Oswalds are left untouched, and if you have the time to play the Oswalds instead of like.
And a lot of the Yep. It's not like Luca was doing much better on turn 2 and 3, right?
Yeah.
And you can like an Oswald is a good 3-drop as well, right? Because you play it and then ink.
Yeah, it's quite okay, especially after like Oswald turn 2, Oswald turn 3. pretty decent. And now they also have the Scrooge to follow it up, so
for
they
free.
already have 8 on the board to be able to threaten to sing Under the Sea the following turn. So if left unanswered, this might be the board swing that they need to stabilize board as well. They do find the coil, so this could even help them reduce the strength of something in preparation for the Under the Sea next turn.
I like the look of Zach's lineup. I'm really curious about that Amber Ruby deck.
Love to see it as well.
I wonder if it's locations. What do you reckon? Do you reckon it's locations? Or do you reckon it's just like aggro?
I think it's
Mufasa.
aggro, more likely.
Could be a bit of both, right?
Yeah, possible.
The Speedway stuff, like the problem with it is the consistency and it's lots of uninkables.
But now, I think, there's no clear coming down yet, which is huge, right? If this gets B-prepped and they still have the library, Zach would be quite far behind. But because it can't come down yet, and they hit the workshop! Stop what you're doing right now! Bam! And
they just inked an uninkable, by the way.
Yeah, I know, with the hidden Incaster. Now their job is just to set up a board where it's like, even if Luca is to play, let's say, an Elsa, they can still have enough characters on the board so he can still sing Under the Sea next turn. But he also really needs to get rid of that library. As long as that library is there, once you get B-prepped, might still be an open game.
Coil draw for the workshop for Zach.
The only time where you can't bench is in the finals, and I don't think you build for the finals because getting
you just
to
try
the
to get
finals
there.
is much more important than being in a good spot once you get there.
Yeah.
Of course, it's great to also get first place and not second place, but everything has to be done step by step.
Yeah, you just built the strategy, because the final you don't bench anything, but the strategy is you don't even think about that. I think you just build the best possible lineup you can to get to the finals, and then if you get to the finals, you see what happens.
Yeah. If you could build like 2 lineups that are exactly the same in the bench, like in the phase before finals, and one of them is better in the finals, sure. But I think other than that, if any lineup is like even slightly better than the other one, you would rather play that and be okay with being a little bit worse off in the finals.
Yeah, because if you make your deck better for the finals and worse for the rest of the tournament,
chances are you're not getting to the finals.
Yeah.
Okay, and another genie. Keeping high hand size, but also playing to the Under the Sea. A lot of lore gained yet, but both in the library. And if the library sticks, I think you still have some work on your plate.
Some work on your plate?
Yeah, that's an English saying.
I don't think so. I think it would be like there's still like a bit of like dinner on your plate.
Dinner? No.
Yeah, like a bit of food on your plate. Like there's never work on your plate.
There's work on your plate.
Or you could say like there's a bit more chicken on the bone.
You don't even want to Under the Sea, right? You just like challenge the library and kit a genie, something like that. Because if you sing Under the Sea and the library is sticking, then you're just too bad against like
Oswald, stop talking.
Okay, I stopped.
I've stopped shouting because my my old man's sleeping now, so
yeah.
I can't do the Oswald shout hype I would like. The saying is a lot on your plate, right? Yeah, true.
A lot on your plate.
Hidden Inkcaster, draw, workshop.
It's a saying now. I'll make
draw.
it a saying. Oh, the Emerald Coil.
Library taken down with the Oswalds of Dreams. Could have gone for the
library is the much bigger threat than these genies. Especially with the 7 ink threshold coming up.
Kick card kicker comes through. There was one lore lost here by Zach by going with the Oswald challenge, not the Bell challenge. I think he recognized that, but
yes, I was. Well, usually I would be like slightly disappointed, but when Bivens does it, I'm very disappointed.
Does Luca have the B prep?
High standards for these guys.
There's a little bit of work on the plate here for Luca, even if he does have the B prep. Doesn't play it, even if they do. I don't believe they had it. The Shadow Finder takes out an Oswald, and a Genie takes out another.
Sometimes you do the challenges that don't waste any strength on your characters, but then you don't realize, okay, if my other characters weren't challenging and they were questing, the lore is the important step there.
Zach seems nervous. Well, bear in mind that you're watching a sped up Zach Bivens, which might be impacting your feeling. Like he might look more shifty than he actually is because it's sped up slightly.
See, someone said they also heard how much work do you have on your plate. Huh? And they're from the US.
Yeah, I mean, there's sort of a saying like that, but you didn't quite get it right.
No, they confirmed I got it right.
Yeah, but they're from the US, so does it count? Oh! Sorry, Jessica. That was me zinging back, because Moyen did the zing earlier at NA.
No, I didn't say anything. It wasn't anything, really.
I apologize.
Ah! Too much work on my plate is used in the UK. Spacey's talking rubbish.
How does green blue remove a half shark? Sapphire coil, ink. Sapphire coil, ink, under the sea. You can probably just ignore it. That's the thing. You probably just don't need to. I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't wish anyone to do poorly. I'm not secretly smiling at anyone like misfortune.
Emerald coil is giving a character evasive, so that's another way that Zan could deal with something, I guess. Just challenge.
Zach, not Zan.
Sir Hiss gets inked, coil, -2 on Genie, and Scrooge McDuck becomes evasive. Are you kidding me, Mr. Zach Bivens?
That's a good challenge to take if I've ever seen one.
Fishbone played. Fishbone's gonna ink. But this is how you could deal with a half shark, right? If you've got one coil and a fishbone, bloop bloop.
Yep. You make your guy evasive. You make the shark not have a lot of strength.
Bell's evasive. Genie's got no strength. Zach Bivens.
Don't have strength. Goodbye, Genie. Goodbye,
Stop
Genie.
that, mate. I think I need a shower after this.
Me too, because it's very warm.
Hey, Jeebus. There's one more round after this. It looks good for Zach, but Luca is only 7 away.
Yep, and has one lore on the board, and it's not like Bivens is closing out the game that quickly from here. Most of the time. Game is definitely still open. Thank you.
There's a lot of cards available for Luca as well, but that under the sea threat is very real, and especially with those coils now as well. He does now have B prep, but he's drawn 2 in fact, but he could have done with them a turn ago. Do you think Zach is playing one copy of the Peter Pan?
But I don't know.
Probably not, right? But there is that cool combo with the Peter Pan and the Emerald Coil.
Mm-hmm.
Turn your Peter Pan evasive, and it's the one that's like your opponent can't gain lore unless they challenge this turn.
Yeah, and then you play the Sardine Can and give it ward as well. Bam! Lock you out of the game.
Does Zach play Bent My Will? I doubt it. I imagine he plays Lucky Dimes, though.
And Big Tammy T.
Yep. And lots of Under the Seas. Probably 4 Under the Seas, almost certainly. I played a Hidden Ink Cluster Under the Sea deck back in like set 5.
Or you like to call it Krakatoa?
Yeah, I do like to call it Krakatoa. Yanfort Tamatoa was unironically called Krabatoa.
I just called it that, and then it's stuck in my
No,
brain.
you thought that was the real name.
Yeah, because like I convinced myself.
So the other thing that Zach has in his deck is there's a 3-cost item called Ratigan's Trap, I think it's called, which you can banish, and your opponent loses 2 lore. So that's another tool. Like, even though Luca's 7 away, it's more like 9 or 10 or 11 away because of the Ratigan's Trap that Zach has in hand.
Oh yeah, that actually is in hand. And it can even be looped once you get enough control over the board state. You have very good tools against like story gain.
Nice. Luca looks a little bit stressed.
Yep, game is starting to slip out of. Okay, it's been slipping out of his hand.
Zach, obviously the Amethyst Steel, better position to just go under this kind of deck, but also Zach making use of the Oswald to get like a much quicker start, right? We saw Luca, like his turn 3 was like a workshop, whereas Zach's turn 3 was a second Oswald into ink, into like double item.
Yeah, Luca opened Popsicle Inkcaster Workshop, whereas Zach just played Oswald's and then got the items for free.
Yep. And the Oswald's just stayed ready and gained a lot more value.
Yeah, we're just taking advantage of the steel benching, whereas Luca didn't even bench steel, right? Luca chose to bench the Ruby Amber from Zach that we didn't get to see.
So we saw Zach, I think, what was Zach's record going into triple deck? Was it 3-1? Or was it 4-0?
Zach was 3-0.
Yeah, I thought it was I think 3-2. So if they win this, there'll be 2 wins, 1 loss in the triple deck.
Yeah. It's just it's not that you always lose, but when you play against these item decks, sometimes you feel like you sit there and wait 10 game actions until you can take 2 game actions.
Yeah. Six ink. The half shark. Medusa's gonna sing. Pirate's Life. Oh, hello, Luca. There's only 1 coil on the board for Zach right now, and this was the big question we had to ask. I would love to see Luca win this one and we go to an Emerald Sapphire mirror. I would be well up for that. Although I do think that Zach with the Oswalds would be favoured. There's 2 coils? There's an Emerald coil. Oh, there's 2 coils, my mistake. Yeah, there's 3 coils. There's an Emerald and 2 Sapphire. Thanks, guys. It's it's late here. And it's hot. I don't know if I mentioned. Shark rushes as well. Oh my goodness. Big turn from Luca.
What did they take back from the shark?
Pirate's Life, I guess. I didn't actually see for sure. They gain a lore off the brawl as well.
And brawl and quest.
18? Damn! Okay, Luca, take a bow.
18 with the Pirate's Life in hand. And some threats on the board as well. That was a huge turn for Luca.
Zach does have that 3-cost item in hand to steal a lore away, but I think you have to pay to use it as well, right?
Yeah, and the problem is, if you use part of your turn to do that, you also need to use some part of your turn to actually deal with the board.
Bell can take out the half shark, right? Like you're inking.
Banish it, and they lose 2 lore. Yes, you can, but like
the banish is free, okay.
How much ink do they have?
A lot.
10 at the start of the turn, so with the quill they can ink.
There's going to be the trap. Is Zach going to draw for workshop? Yes. There's something they're looking for. Hit Lucky Dime. I don't think that's what they're looking for right now.
I'm not sure what it is that they're looking for. Maybe like anything that bounces a character, so then you can like trade the half shark, bounce another one, get them back to 16. That would buy you at least 1 more turn.
So the bell is evasive. and I think was it the half shark which had its strength lowered. Now the fishbone quill comes. I guess every time Zach's inking, he can lower the strength of 2 things by 2. So this half shark could already be. The half shark, I think, is 1 strength now, and the Medusa is. Oh my days, Zach! The under the sea.
Yeah, so you can do both the trap and the under the sea.
And the trap makes Luca lose 2. What a game! And Bell
Yeah, so
can
with them
quest.
starting at 10, they could like ink
And he
to
can
12.
quest. I think Luca has a pirate's life in hand from the half shark, I'm assuming. And that's how you deal with a half shark for someone asking.
Right. So starting the turn at 10 ink, they needed 11 to do both under the sea and the trap, which means they have 1 ink left over, which is why they start the turn by playing the trap and triggering it off the workshop. So perfect sequencing with the only play that lets you stay alive another turn. Now there's 2 more threats being put onto the board. But I guess the Tamatoa can recur the trap, and then if it does stick, you can finish the game with the dime.
No, hello, man. The reason that Zach had the cards of Luca is because it was under the sea. Zach picks the order that they go in on the bottom.
What?
Chat was just asking why Zach picked up Luca's cards after the under the sea.
Yeah, you get to choose the order.
Yeah. Also, probably is a bit of a language barrier. Luca does speak English, but not like. It's not his native tongue. So, the Peter Pan didn't challenge Bell, and instead it's just sitting there trying to just quest and get 1 more. You have to imagine that 1 weakness for Zach's deck is locations. Like, what cards does Zach have that can actually deal with locations? Nothing in hand.
Yeah.
Hideaway.
There's not much in these ink combination, right? There's like Hideaway, there's
Cusco.
You're Welcome, Cusco, but none of these cards that are like good outside of that function.
But Ratigan's trap is back in hand thanks to the Tamatoa. Maybe that's the answer. You just keep making them lose lore.
You basically keep playing the trap to stall until any of your Tamatoa stick, and then as soon as it sticks, you try to maybe close out the game of Tamatoa and the time.
Because you have the Tamatoa quests, you get the dime for free. Remember, Zach did
maybe
misplay 1 lore earlier in the game as well.
Yes, for sure. I was wondering if you maybe need to play the big Tamatoa to set up story and then go to 20 next turn. I guess he decided that small Tamatoa surviving plus the trap.
I mean, if you're Zach, there's a very clear read that Luca has a B prep in hand at this point. He hasn't played a single B prep.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference. It's like you can make a read, but you also have to decide and figure out what you can actually beat.
Mm-hmm.
So still, even if you have like a read that there's probably a B prep, to make this play, you need to figure out that this can actually lead to victory, which I guess he did. And if this small Tamatoa is also being dealt with, then maybe that's where you drop the big Tamatoa, threatening 20 lore again and reoccurring the trap again.
Inking an uninkable feels good. Double coil onto Peter Pan, and I guess the emerald coil onto a Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Luca's just chilling there.
Well, he doesn't have much to do in this opposing turn.
Under the Sea inked with the fishbone. Bell is double evasive now.
Also evasive, or spell evasive twice.
The trap is gonna steal 2 lore away from Luca. The trap is really what's enabling this deck to work, right? Like,
yeah, without the trap, Zach would have lost 2 turns ago. And with no counterplay possible if the trap wasn't in the deck either.
Yeah, Zach has another Under the Sea, that's why he can ink 1. He probably plays 4 in his deck with hidden ink caster, you can get away with it.
Reese may be able to stop 1 lore from happening.
Is it Louis
But
or
during the
Louis?
beta
I think
pan,
it's Louis.
yes.
Louis.
When you say Louis, I say Sui.
Sui. Like Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Galactic Communicator comes down. That could
So
bounce
just
the Peter Pan back to
bouncing
hand.
the beta pan instead. I guess what this
Jargy
does
double
better
inked.
than Louis is that Peter Pan can't sing Friends either.
Well, Jessica, Zach can play a dime for free when he quests with Tamatoa, right?
Mhm.
It's Louis. That's what I said.
Yeah, me too. No, Tamatoa hasn't quested yet because it came down this turn, didn't it?
Yeah. The thing for Zach is he doesn't need any lore. He just needs to stop Luca getting lore, right? Bell will
Well,
quest.
it's not completely true, right? He needs enough lore so that if the 6-drop Tamatoa sticks, that maybe quest, play dime, play the big Tamatoa, activate dime is enough.
I'm surprised we haven't seen the Galactic Communicator being popped here to bounce the Peter Pan back to hand to stall for an extra.
Well, they can still do that. They're just first calculating whether having one item less means they don't get to 20 next turn. So now they have 10 items on the board, and let's say the 6-drop Tamatoa sticks at quest for 2, they go to 5. Then maybe off the dime they would want to get 15 lore. And 4, 8, 10, the dime's 11
Passes.
items.
One for
12.
library.
3 more items could be enough. Interesting decision for sure. Play another item there. Wait, did he played the item for 2? And then he didn't trigger workshop, right?
Yeah.
Now he has 1 ink left open?
Yep.
Maybe I missaw something, but that sounds wrong.
I think he probably just changed his mind. I mean, it was a very complicated turn.
Yeah, it was a very long turn.
It is a good observation, though.
What's that ink? Well, it's not easy to manage this amount of ink.
Finders keepers.
Look similar to this.
Ooh.
No.
I don't know about that. Doesn't seem to be what you would want to do in this position.
Well, if none of the cards in your hand really impact the spot state, maybe you're looking for cards that would actually impact it, like goats.
For sure. It's more of a sign of like Luca not being in a great spot, right? Iago into the ink, 5 available. It's going to be Dragon. That's cool to see the Dragonfire participation promo. That makes sense to me. Deal with the Tamatoa. That's the most important thing because obviously it's threatening dime.
Yeah, now if the big Tamatoa is to come down, maybe you've managed to like hold some removal for that by like holding a B prep. A Haufen.
Haufen means pile.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Artabax always calls like some decks that have a lot of different cards. Wilderhaufen, which is like a wild pile. Yeah, he like didn't use workshop, then he wanted to use the communicator, but then he was like, oh, I actually don't want to use it. At which point I guess he couldn't trigger the workshop anymore.
The scary thing to think about, right, is that there's 30 minutes left on the clock. And I don't know that 30 minutes is going to be enough for an Emerald Sapphire mirror.
The green-blue mirror. The green-blue mirror does need some time. You are right about that, but 30 minutes is a lot.
Are you very experienced in the Emerald Sapphire mirror?
I can't say that. Are you?
Not with these builds, no. Are we sure they have 30 minutes? It's sped up. That's actually a really good point. Oh, that.
Oh, to see that it's sped up, you also just need to look at the timer. That's
No,
that's
the
not
clock is the clock sped up. I don't know if the clock's sped up. I guess it is.
Not.
1.
Maybe
2.
that's normal time.
No, it is sped up.
4, 5.
Is it? It's
I don't
definitely
know.
sped up. Yeah, that's not 1 second.
Oh, chat. No, I'm not sure.
At first, I thought the timer wasn't sped up, but I mean, it just went from 31 to 29, so.
Oh. I want to watch the game, but somehow I'm looking at the timer now. Oh,
Same.
jump!
Scrooge.
Zack!
Is that another trap?
Maybe?
It is.
That's
2 traps now
another
available.
trap. And Luca's kind of just gaining like 2 lower turn.
Zach
And
should
Zack
just
is almost getting to the point where they're activating 2 traps a turn.
mill him. Easy.
Mit himself?
Just
or-
keep recycling Ratigan's traps. Keep him trapped. Bam.
But he also, I mean, he's probably drawn more cards than Luca. So I think he would probably mill out first. Wonder what deck size are. That's a good point.
60.
Zack's deck looks quite small. At the current deck size.
I heard it's optimal to play 67. Actually, how's Hamza doing? Do we know?
I don't know.
Gonna draw for
I wish him
workshop.
all the best if he's playing 60 cards.
Dave says Luca wishing he brought a book. True. Bell is evasive and the Peter Pan has no strength. Luca's just...
I mean, this is one of the hardest things. To stay concentrated while you're doing so little, your opponent's doing so much. I think it's a very difficult skill.
Lucky dime, finally. Numero uno against the Italian. And Luca's back down to 12. Zach's going to take the lead soon. Quest with
Yeah.
Bell.
So how many items is there on the board?
Yes.
Are we starting to approach a game state where Zach can close out the game, please? 3, 6, 7, 11 items. So Tamatoa and an item. Oh, nice camera switch. How many items did I say?
Yes.
11, 12, so like 13 lore or just of Tamatoa. So if these two were to quest to 7, Tamatoa alone would have been story.
Second library. And a Chernobog's followers just for good measure. But now it's back over to Bivens.
And here we go again.
Hope you had fun, Luca.
How much ink? 3, 6, 8, 7. No! I was counting.
There's a second dime as well. Nell
It's
reckons
just
that Tamatoa can get to 18. There's surely... Well, there's items in the discard.
6. Oh, so right now it's 16 ink. So not enough to play. Like even with double inking, you go to 18 ink. So you're 1 ink off actually playing Tamatoa dime, activating both dimes. And without playing the second dime, I think you're like 2 lore off. By just playing Tamatoa Lucky Dime, activating Lucky Dime. So in every way, you're like slightly off gaining 20 lore.
I think it's game. He's
Yeah, but
trolling
not
hard.
this
I mean,
time.
he's not trolling. He's taking his time.
Even if you do have 20 here, right, you like count it 3 times.
More like 17.
Yeah, and it also
He's taking everyone's time. How dare this guy take his time over the turn which can book his place as the 2nd or 3rd seed in Worlds? Come on, guys.
Unbelievable. This guy.
This guy,
What?
23 minutes on the clock, and he's got the cheek to double check that he's actually got an insanely complicated win.
After looping Ratigan's trap for like 4 turns in a row.
Here's the big Tammy T. Look at Luca's face. The eyebrow raise. Zach's going to bring back the popsicle from the discard. Or is it going to be a trap? I'm excited for the Bivens interview.
It's G as a popsicle and discard, yes. Foil in hand. Then 54, 8, 10, 11, 12. I mean, that wouldn't be enough. Play like 3 items in total.
Goes for the trap. I don't know if he's got enough to win here now.
No, I don't think he does, which means he just stalls 1 more turn and gains a lot of lore and then finishes the game of anything, probably. But I guess there's also Pirate's Life, so I mean, of course he's taking his time. I think it's very, very reasonable.
Did he have a popsicle in the discard?
He had enough for... No, he didn't. Didn't we count the ink and we said he was on like 15 or 16 ink and could only ink to 18 and not actually play both? So you need 19 ink to play Tamatoa, Dime, activate both. And he could only ink twice. I don't think he did.
Well, you wouldn't need to play the popsicle. You played Tamatoa Dime is 15 or at 19. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think he had enough ink.
I have no idea.
Well, it's not easy to count these piles, but
It's
when
not
I counted
normal
it,
PV,
I counted
no.
it in a way where he can't ink to 19. And at that point, if you cannot do that, you just do it exactly the way he did it. Get some workshop triggers off, activate Rhyme once, and Luca still only gets to, well, not enough. 17 right now, but there's still some traps being activated after the time activation.
Tamatoa is evasive. Don't forget to pop the trap, Zach. There's the trap. Back to 12, Luca. Unlucky, mate.
Yeah, now at 19,
Poor Luca.
you have to remove the Tamatoa, and if you remove the Tamatoa, that's already occupying, like, let's say at least 5 of your ink, because there could be something like a Dragonfire, but most decks only play 1 Dragonfire. But something like Dragonfire plus Pirate's Life is, I think, the best that he could hope for. Because as soon as you have to spend 7 on beat prep,
Oh, yeah.
you have enough.
Cow says the
Or-
one law he missed actually mattered. Like, if Zach didn't take that bell,
Yes.
Oswald thing could have won by now, but I don't think it's actually going to matter. Luca needs 5
Yeah,
law.
no, but mistakes always matter, even if they lead to the same result. You
But
always
also,
make
Pirate's Life here is kind of scary. Wait, right? I guess you need to also remove the Tamatoa, so you can't play Pirate's Life and remove Tamatoa.
Yeah, unless you have exactly Dragonfire.
GG,
Pirate's
Zach
Life.
wins.
Or even, yeah.
Excuse
with
me.
Dragonfire it would have been enough, but they already used one.
GG.
I don't know
oh my
how-
god, guys, Zach took his time and won the game. Crazy.
I don't know why chat always sees plays that aren't, I guess, just normal. But they always see plays that aren't possible. Oh, just play double dime, activate both dimes. Yeah, okay. It's in Hearthstone it was the same thing. Every time it was like, oh, lethal if you had like 5 more mana. Yeah, okay.